Imagine this. What if everything you know about yourself is just a sliver of something way bigger? Like, what if there are other versions of you, living in different realities, each taking its own unique path, collecting wisdom, experiences, and skills you haven't even touched yet? These versions, let's call them your parallel selves, are all tied to you through an invisible web of consciousness. Picture them as branches of the same tree, each growing in a different direction, yet all connected. But here's the kicker. What if you could not only see these other versions of you, but tap into the knowledge and power they've already got? Could it be that the you know is just a temporary snapshot, limited by the way time and space play tricks on you? Maybe the real you is a much larger being, spread across different realities, with a consciousness that's not bound by the physical world we think we know. Now, I won't pretend there's a simple answer to this, but one thing's clear. The deeper you dig into this idea, the more you realize that the reality you live in is just the tip of the iceberg. When we start to entertain the thought of multiple versions of ourselves, it hits us that events in one reality can ripple across the others. Imagine this. Your parallel self is already living in a reality where the dreams and desires you have today have already been checked off. So, how do you access that version of you? How do you pull that wisdom into your own life? Realizing that these parallel versions exist is the first step in unlocking untapped abilities you never even dreamed of. The trick is to break free from the chains of linear time and see things from a whole new angle. What if the past, present, and future aren't separate at all, but happening all at once, and you have the power, right now, to connect with a wiser, more experienced version of yourself? When you get this, you start to see that it's not just about seeing this other you. It's about living it. You can bring the lessons and experiences of these parallel selves into your present. So imagine this. What if you could learn from the version of you who's already achieved everything you desire? How would that change your journey? When we open ourselves to this possibility, we realize that time and reality aren't rigid forces. They're like clay, waiting to be shaped by our intentions and our consciousness. And by doing that, we begin to step beyond the limits of physical reality. So today, get ready to discover the real power of your parallel self. Knowing that all versions of you coexist, you'll not only learn how to observe them, but also how to live them. So, here's the big question. Are you ready to uncover who you truly are in all your forms? We often think of time as this steady, uninterrupted flow, a line that stretches from the past through the present and into the future. But that's just a trick our minds play on us. What if time isn't a straight line at all? What if, instead, it's more like a vast ocean of possibilities, all happening at once, waiting for us to dive in? The human mind craves order in the chaos, so we've created this illusion of linear time. But once you start looking beyond that, you realize that time isn't some fixed path. It's a reflection of our consciousness, something we can shape, bend, and even manipulate. It's not a universal constant that ticks away the same for everyone. It's deeply personal. It responds to how we perceive it, and it can shift based on our internal state. To break free from this traditional view of time, you need to expand your perception. Time doesn't just tick on relentlessly, it shifts and molds itself to the rhythm of your consciousness. Think about it for a second. Ever notice how time seems to crawl when you're bored out of your mind, but when you're fully immersed in something you enjoy, it just flies? That's your first clue that time isn't this fixed, unchanging thing. It's all in your head. It's like a mood ring. Depending on how you feel, it can stretch or shrink. Time, in all its sneaky ways, is a reflection of how we experience the world around us, how deeply we're involved in something, or how much our minds are focused on the here and now. When we step back and open our minds a bit wider, stop treating time like this unmovable clock, we start to realize, hey, time can actually work for us instead of the other way around. Expanding your consciousness is like finding the secret key that unlocks the truth about time. It's not a prison wall holding us in, but a playground where we can bend the rules. See, once you start stretching your awareness, your view of the world flips. Suddenly, the present moment isn't just some pit stop on the way to the future. It's this vast, infinite field where the past, present, and future all exist at once. And in that field, it's not just one reality you're living in, it's a bunch of them all intertwined, all available to you. The real question is, which one do you choose? Well, that depends on how you see it. Expanding your consciousness is like peeling back the layers of a curtain and stepping into a universe where all versions of you are already living, breathing, and making moves. Time's no longer your enemy, it's your ally, a tool you can grab and use to tap into all the different versions of yourself living out there in the world. This is where things get interesting. You've probably heard of quantum jumping, right? It's this mind-bending idea where you can hop from one timeline to another. But here's the twist. It's not some physical leap. It's mental. It's about shifting your consciousness, shifting your perception, to access a version of you that's already living the life you're still dreaming about. That version of you, your parallel self, has already figured out the puzzle, already crossed the finish line while you're still tying your shoes. When you expand your consciousness, you start tapping into that version of you who's already got the answers, already living in a state where time and space don't play by the rules anymore. And that's when things start shifting. What once seemed like a goal way out there in the future, suddenly, it starts popping up in your present. You're not waiting for some far-off moment to arrive. You're pulling that future into your now. Now, if you still see your desires as something you'll get around to someday, well, you're stuck in that old linear way of thinking. But when you get that everything you want already exists somewhere out there, in some other reality, and you can access it through your consciousness, that's when time starts to work in your favor. You're not waiting anymore. You're bringing that future to you. This shift in perception doesn't just change how you see time. It changes the way you experience your whole reality. The more you open up your mind, the more you realize you can slip between different versions of yourself, jumping between realities. The wisdom that once seemed too far out of reach, the results you thought were miles away, become part of your present moment. Time, as we know it, starts to crumble. And what's left is an infinite flowing consciousness that can experience anything, at any moment, from any reality. Once you understand that time doesn't have to be this linear, rigid thing, the floodgates open to a whole new way of manifesting. No longer does time decide when or how your dreams come true. Your consciousness becomes the real power, the force that shapes how you experience time and space, bending them to fit your desires. And this, right here, is where the magic happens. The clearer your connection with your parallel self becomes. You know how we've talked about it before? Your parallel self, right? That other version of you out there, living in a different reality. Yeah, that version has already cracked the code on how to work with time and dimensions in ways you probably don't even fully get yet. It's like, while you're stuck figuring out the mess you're in now, that parallel you has already gone through it, found solutions, and reached the goals you're still chasing. More than that, it knows that time isn't this wall blocking you from what you want. It's a tool, something you can use to get where you need to be. This parallel self is like a more advanced version of you. Let's call it the next level version. It's transcended the whole idea of time as this rigid, one-way street. For you, time feels like this sequence of moments, one after another, right? But for that parallel self, it's got a front row seat to every single timeline, every version of reality, all happening at once. It's like living in a place where there are no boundaries. The freedom's off the charts. Every choice, every experience, it's already been lived, already been understood in ways you're just starting to catch on to. The cool part, the more you open your mind to the fact that these parallel versions of you are out there, living their lives in their own timelines, the easier it is to tap into them. It's all about focus, intention. like tuning into a different frequency. You can use things like visualization and meditation to sync up with your parallel self and start soaking up all the wisdom, the insights, the achievements it's already gained. It's like you're downloading a cosmic cheat sheet for your own life. And this isn't some distant future thing either. The moment you start connecting with your parallel self, you bring its wisdom, its experiences, into your current reality. Imagine it as accessing some kind of cosmic database where all these versions of you are stored, each with their own set of decisions, lessons, and secrets waiting to be unlocked. If you're stuck on a problem, or that big goal feels way out of reach, guess what? There's a version of you that's already figured it out. You can link up with that parallel you, and boom, the path forward becomes clear. No more fumbling around. No more wasted time. It's like getting the roadmap to your success, handed to you by someone who's already walked the road. Sometimes, this wisdom shows up in tiny, quiet moments, like that little whisper of intuition you get, telling you exactly what to do next. Other times, it hits you when you're just sitting in stillness, that moment when you're really in tune with your inner self. It's subtle, almost sneaky, but when you pay attention, you'll see it. That parallel version of you has already solved the problems you're facing right now. It's mastered the art of manifesting its desires in its own reality, and it's ready to share what it's learned. Here's the kicker. When you connect with that parallel version, you start to realize that the limitations you feel in your own life, whether it's time, money, or opportunities, are really just products of how narrow your current perception of reality is. It's like you've been wearing blinders this whole time, thinking there's only one way to live, one way to reach your goals. But in reality, there's an entire universe of possibilities waiting for you to explore. And that parallel you, it's your ticket to seeing them all. This upgraded version of you? Oh, it's got some serious wisdom to share. And here's the kicker. Right here, right now, you've got the power to break through barriers that seem impossible. You just have to plug into that knowledge and let it sink in. Once you do, you'll realize that your parallel self isn't some distant, abstract concept. No, it's alive, active, and present, right along with you on your journey. It's not just about gathering information. It's about merging with those experiences it's already lived, pulling them into the now. And let me tell you, that can flip your reality upside down. Which brings us to something pretty wild: quantum jumping. Now, I know that might sound like some mind-bending physics mumbo-jumbo, but stick with me here. It actually ties right into your consciousness and the way you manifest your reality. In simple terms, a quantum jump is like flipping a switch, going from one state of being to another super fast without going through all the in-between steps. It's like skipping ahead in the game to a level where you're already crushing it. Now, applied to the idea of parallel realities, quantum jumping is like changing the channel on a TV. Instead of having to go through the whole episode lineup, you just tune your consciousness to a different reality, where that new version of you is already living the life you want. You don't need to follow the boring, old, linear path. You can make the jump straight into the reality where your desires are already a done deal. So how do you make this leap? Well, first off, you gotta align your vibration with the version of you that's already there, already living the dream, whatever that may be. It's all about syncing up, like tuning your radio to the perfect frequency. And once you're on the right station, that's when things get interesting. Let's break it down. The key is visualization. Simple but powerful. First, you gotta get crystal clear about what you want. What's the dream? A new job, a healthier lifestyle, maybe a better relationship. Whatever it is, get specific. Once you've got your vision locked down, find a quiet spot, get comfortable, and start to visualize it. Picture it in full color. What do you see? How does it feel? Who's with you? How do they react to this new version of you? And here's the magic sauce. Don't just imagine it. Feel it. Really feel like you're already living it. Get into that emotional state, as if it's happening right now. That's the vibration you need to match. This emotion, this energy, is what links your consciousness to that parallel version of you, the one that's already living your dreams. After the visualization, the trick is to let go. Don't stress about the how or the when. Trust that the jump has already been made on an energetic level, even if you can't see it yet in the physical world. Just know it's happening. And hey, the more you practice, the stronger that connection gets. Meditation? Oh yeah, it's your secret weapon. The more often you meditate, keeping that feeling alive, the quicker that new reality starts to feel like home. Mastering this process of quantum jumping is like hitting the fast forward button on your dreams. It helps you bypass all the little internal roadblocks that usually slow you down. Instead of grinding through the usual hurdles, you just pop into the reality where your goals are already ticked off. It's like you've been handed the cheat code to your own life, and trust me, it can make a huge difference. Quantum jumps are like a secret shortcut to getting what you want, only faster. Forget about waiting for things to slowly shift and evolve. When you make a quantum leap, you start seeing results right now. How? Well, it's all about aligning your consciousness with a version of you that's already living the life you're aiming for. No more sitting around, hoping and wishing for change. By practicing these jumps regularly, you're not just speeding up the manifestation of your desires, you're also changing the way you relate to time and reality itself. Imagine having the keys to doors you never thought were even there, unlocking parts of your life that seemed impossible. And here's the kicker. When it comes to manifesting what you want, time isn't the usual villain we think it is. It's not about waiting for the clock to run down. It's about how you feel about time. Think about it. If you see your desires as something far off in the distance, something that's one day going to happen, well, guess what? You're stretching that timeline, making the wait feel even longer. But if you start seeing your desire as already in motion, already on its way, time starts to move differently. The key here is to treat your desires as already real, as if they're happening right now, not some distant dream you'll get to eventually. This shift in perspective happens when you align your mind and emotions with the feeling of already having what you want. It's like turning off that little voice of doubt and replacing it with the confidence that it's already yours. When you do that, time actually starts bending in your favor. No, seriously. It's like time becomes your friend. When you feel joy, gratitude, and excitement about your goals, as if they've already happened, you're sending a message to the universe that you're ready to receive. That's the golden ticket right there. So how do you speed up this whole manifestation thing? It's simple. Live as if your desire is already here. Instead of sitting around, anxiously waiting for the future to deliver, start acting, thinking, and feeling as though what you want is already a part of your present reality. It's like you're skipping ahead in the story, and suddenly, everything starts to flow. Time seems to collapse, and boom, there's your result, right in front of you. This way, manifestation stops being a slow, painful process and becomes something dynamic, smooth, and, dare I say, easy. It's like you're surfing the waves of time instead of trying to swim against them. And trust me, once you get the hang of it, that ride gets a whole lot faster. Quantum physics, it's wild, right? It's like the universe is showing us a secret behind-the-scenes map of how everything works. What if I told you that there are infinite versions of you out there, each living a different experience? Sounds like science fiction, but it's actually grounded in the fascinating idea of quantum superposition. Basically, it means that all the possible versions of your life are already happening, right this second. They're just waiting in the wings, like actors backstage, ready to jump onto the stage as soon as the spotlight hits them. At any given moment, there's an endless number of you out there, each one walking a different path, facing different choices, living different experiences. It's like your life is one big, tangled web of possibilities, each thread pulled in a million directions at once. But here's the kicker. None of these versions are actually real until you choose one. They're all just waiting for your attention, like a quantum particle hanging out in multiple states, never quite landing anywhere until it gets observed. So, how do you turn one of those infinite lives into your reality? That's where your consciousness comes in. When you focus on a certain version of yourself, maybe the version that's already living your dream life, bam, you collapse that possibility right into your present moment. It's like tuning a radio station to the exact frequency you want, and suddenly, your world shifts to match it. Your thoughts, emotions, and focus act like the observer, picking the reality you want to live from the infinite lineup of options. It's like this. If you really align your thoughts and feelings with the version of yourself who's already living the life you want, that reality doesn't just stay a dream, it becomes now. Visualization is your tool here. Picture your goal as if it's already done, and feel the emotions of having achieved it. When you do that, you're not just daydreaming. You're pulling that reality from the endless sea of possibilities and making it your own. This is the magic of quantum physics applied to manifestation. Knowing that all possibilities exist at once means you get to choose which one becomes your reality. It's not about passively waiting for life to happen to you. Oh no. This is about actively shaping your world by tuning your vibration to match the version of yourself that has what you want. Once you get this, everything changes. Spiritually, emotionally, even physically. You're not just a passenger in a world that's fixed and unchanging. You're the creator of your own reality. All those limits you once thought were real, they're just illusions, mental blocks you've built. With a little expanded consciousness, you can step outside of those walls and live a life full of intentionality, connection, and possibilities. It's like realizing you've had the key to the universe all along, and now you're using it. Thanks for taking this wild ride with me. If this video spoke to you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with anyone who could use a little quantum jump in their life. Leave me a comment too. Let me know your thoughts, your experiences. I'd love to hear from you. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.